What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So all of my content probably over the course of the next 2 months while I'm away from home base and home from those vital necessities, my content isn't going to be the best edited. I am currently shaking hands with a cat. My setup is very minimalistic. My microphone was very awkwardly and hastily set up. But guys, before we get into this, I just want to focus on this article here. The external media sources that be the external market, the user base, everybody outside of LUNC that currently has a very negative perception, it's going to start to change. With articles like this, it's going to get people interested in Terra Luna Classic again. There's a reason why so many people flock to the Shiba Inu chain, because they understand burning. They understand if you remove coins over time, effectively this should raise the price. This gives the user something to cling on to, something to tell other people, something for them to be happy, interested about, and explainable. This is such a huge point of any kind of narrative that a blockchain wishes to move forward with or use to better its own future. We have to understand the narrative in play, and burning is widely adopted, it's widely understood. Lots of different smaller chains, meme coins pride themselves specifically on burning. There's a lot of power behind it. So I know what you're all asking, and it's all surrounding those LFG assets. Everybody's really wondering, can these LFG assets burn? Do we need to wait for TFL? Do we need to wait for Do Kwon? Is TFL coming back? Is Do Kwon coming back? And the real kind of bite and crunch of this situation is pretty simple, and I'll leave links to these documents. I'm not going to read through them because I believe you should go and you should educate yourself on this situation and understand that TFL and Do Kwon were found liable for massive amounts of crypto fraud, right? This isn't just about the collapse of Luna and UST. It's about deceiving investors, right? It's lying about the stability of the crypto asset security and that so-called algorithmic stablecoin, right? It never worked. It was bailed out multiple different times, and there's so many people that cling to the idea that all that went wrong was the crash, that TFL and Do Kwon wasn't responsible for the crash, regardless of them causing the crash, being responsible for it directly or indirectly. There is still a lot of charges built up against TFL and Do Kwon, and yes, they were found guilty in the bankruptcy proceedings. And what we're going to be seeing now is the criminal case. TFL are not involved in any of this anymore because TFL don't exist, right? They're never coming back. And even if they would like to come back, they have been ordered, judged, and decreed by the courts of law in Delaware that they must never, ever return to the Terra Classic or Terra Luna Classic or the cryptocurrency ecosystem, period. If we can start to understand this and educate other people on these facts, right, we could start to actually understand what we're able to do with those LFG assets. So what we're going to want to do is, of course, go to the final judgment. And this is the only part we're ever going to need to pay attention to. And I will read this out. The defendants or the liquidating trustee or other estate representative in the bankruptcy case shall be permitted to dispose of crypto assets within the bankruptcy estate's possession or control, including crypto assets transferred to the bankruptcy estate's possessions or custody or control by defendant Kwon, pursuant to the terms of hereto other than UST, Mira, Luna, Wrap Luna, Anchor, KRTC, and Luna 2.0. These are deemed as the Terraform crypto assets, and in a manner not objectionable to the parties and the court in the bankruptcy action. Defendants shall otherwise burn or destroy private keys in Terraform's possession to wallets or blockchain addresses holding Terraform crypto assets. This final judgment here gives us one clear definition. Any assets that relate to the Terraform crypto assets must have the keys destroyed or burned. They are not to be liquidated. So what this tells us is the evidence that we've gone over here previously on the channel is accurate. And if we are to go to the LFG reserve, we are actually able to see the reflection of that final judgment. We can see that the AVAX, being a serious amount, was liquidated back last year in November. We saw them liquidate all of the BNB. We've explained why they haven't attempted to liquidate the BTC yet, and it would be smarter for them to hold that for the indefinite future because they're going to have more chance of paying off more of these wrecked investors on a retail level. What we can see here, the USTC being 1.86 billion, has been left untouched alongside that 222 million Lunar Classic coins. Again, this bolsters what they've told us in the final judgment. So if we're really to boil this situation down and we start to look at these LFG assets and say, do we even have the legitimate right to go in and burn them? I personally think we do, but I also think that the SEC would have something to say on a very light note, but at the same time, the judgment is made up and composed from many different parties, including a jury that found them guilty in a court of law. So it's all of these different things, right, where there are these voices in the back of my head that would say maybe the SEC would have something to say, but at the same time, anything that they would have to say would be their own personal opinion, and it wouldn't reflect what has been judged, ordered, and decreed by the courts of Delaware in the bankruptcy case proceedings. We know the SEC would have liquidated that 1.86 billion USTC if they were able to. It's worth around $40 to $45 million at the moment. Essentially, a lot of people are asking me, and I'm going to do one independent video on it, and it will be kind of repeating what I've already said here, but I just want to ensure everybody gets the situation that surrounds the LFG assets. They are not held in a contract. I have to make this quite clear. In order to destroy these chains, you need to perform a chain upgrade. This chain upgrade will then handle that 1.83 billion USTC. And I believe, yes, you should go for the LFG reserves to begin with and then deal with those 8 wallets afterwards, because the LFG reserves in themselves are far more complex. It's going to take a lot more to have the validators on side in regards to actually burning these assets. What we need to understand is not everybody is going to go and look at this court document which has been provided by the Delaware courts, which clearly outline the destiny of any Terraform crypto assets. We even had Chris Armani, who stated all of these assets can and should burn. Obviously, there's a lot of people who would say, well, Jay, we actually don't know who has the keys to these wallets. The LFG reserve assets are under very peculiar circumstances. And yes, at the end of everything, we don't know. And anybody who would say, yes, you know, it's this person's got the keys or that person's got the keys, they don't know. It's a Schrodinger's box at the end of this. There's no bite and crunch because nobody really understands the bite and crunch. But what we do know is, like I said, the court documents clearly state that the Terraform crypto assets can be and should be burned. And in order for this to be the smoothest process possible, I believe a third-party development team that's trusted should really come forward and handle this chain upgrade, really push this burn initiative through. I believe anybody that attempts to do it as an existing validator might run into the same issues I've run into previously, where now if you supposedly create a proposal and you vote yes to that proposal, all nodes is going to come in and they're going to punish you with a no vote. That's what they did to me. I assume that's what they would do to other people. So if a third-party development team that comes in and does it, that's not a validator, well, we can have a far more equalized playing field and an actual decentralized vote that's not being controlled by the number one validator simply saying, if you vote yes, I'll vote no and I'll punish you.